Hi guys, it's Heather, the Butterfly Effect, plant-based weight loss. And I wanted to bring up a topic that came to light from a comment left on my last video. My last video was called Saying Goodbye, and it was telling you what happened with my dog Hope. And I got a comment on that video from Jason Skywalker, and this was Jason's comment. I'm sorry you had to go through that traumatic experience, but please don't get another pet. Pet ownership is another selfish form of animal abuse. Animals are meant to live in the wild and not as sexually mutilated toys, playthings for human entertainment. You are a great inspiration with your health journey. Keep up the good work. So, some people said that was a troll comment. I don't think it's a troll comment. I think it's a subject for ethical people to consciously, thoughtfully debate in a way that is respectful and kind. And so that would be my only comment is, truly, do you think that that's the best time to make your point? If you want to get a point across, is right when someone has just experienced something very tragic and is very sad at their loss. Like, I'm crying my eyes out in that video. And almost everybody was super kind and super caring. And so this comment, stood out because it was bringing up an ethical argument, and and there's a place and a time. If you want to be persuasive as an activist, it's really good to know the right time. But nevertheless, this is the topic, and so I wanted to bring it up with you guys. Do you think it's ethical for people to have companion animals, to have friends that are of other species that they adopt and care for? And obviously, that I am a person that does have companion animals, and I believe that it is a good thing to have companion animals. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And of course, another thing that you should know about me is I do consider myself to be an ethical vegan. I don't eat animals. I don't use animals for entertainment or, use their skin for clothing. I don't believe that it's okay to hurt animals. And so, that goes beyond being a plant-based eater, though I also don't eat any animal products. Okay. So this is not a debate as to whether it's a good thing to be a vegan or not. I already am a vegan, but just whether it's okay to have companion animals. And so my point was, I replied back, do you think that having a companion animal that you love and care for is worse than having beautiful, loving animals die in shelters? Every pet I have ever had would have either been euthanized due to overcrowding in a shelter, or in the case of one of my kitties, he adopted me by approaching me for loves and pets. And so until all of those animals are taken care of, it doesn't make any sense to me to be, if you're an ethical vegan, to wish that they would rather be destroyed, or knowing that if you don't take care of them in some way, that they, even if you believe that they should be wild and free, that isn't an option. It isn't an option between them going wild and free. It's between them living and dying, because shelters are overcrowded. And so Jason wrote back, better for an animal to have a quick death than live a life deprived of its dignity. I sympathize with your pain because you bonded with this animal, but pet ownership is profoundly disturbing. Not saying pet lovers are bad persons. On the contrary, most of them have the best of intentions. Unfortunately, pet owners' animal domestication is a culturally accepted form of outright animal abuse. Okay, and this is where I profoundly disagree with Jason. just as you said, I believe that most people who have animal companions, or I consider myself a pet parent because the way I relate to the animals in my life is much like a parent relates to a child. I don't feel like I own my children. Well, my children are adults, so I really don't own them now, but I care about them. I care about their well-being. I would do anything for them, and that is how I see most pet parents regarding their pets. I don't know anybody that considers their animal companions as like just an animal. And so the other thing is, so you said, okay, so by your logic, then everybody in prison, because they're denied of their dignity or denied of their freedom, they would be better off with a quick death. So human beings have free will, and there are people who are on death row, and they are fighting that conviction because they would rather have a life, even if it's in a prison or something like that. So I think it's very anti-vegan to try to speak for animals and say these animals would rather die than have a loving pet parent or be part of a human family. That doesn't seem very vegan to me to make that decision for an animal. And then the other thing I would say is that there is freedom. There's two kinds of freedom. There's freedom to do things, and then there's freedom from a lot of things. So the animals that become companion animals, the wild, we romanticize it, but wild animals are subject to diseases. If they get hurt, they just suffer, they just have pain, they don't have anybody to take care of them. They are subject to sometimes starvation, they are subject to exposure. It is no picnic to be wild and free, as much as we romanticize it. And if you think about like domestic animals, particularly cats and dogs, they both got domesticated because they hung around people. I believe that they chose to have that special relationship with humans. And so I just wanted to talk about some of my pet children, if you will indulge me. So this guy is Hanny. This guy is Smokey. Smokey is he's in heaven now. I had him for 18, well, he was 18 when I lost him. At least that's what the vet said, because Smokey is someone who adopted us. I don't know if he was dumped in the country, if he had been someone's companion animal, had been somebody's fur baby. But he adopted us when we had a farm, and he just showed up one day and wanted food and cuddles and loves. And he was the reason I picked this picture, even though it's definitely not the most flattering picture of me. But that is where Smokey wanted to be 24/7. He wanted to be on my lap. He would jump on me all the time. He would snuzzle me. He would cuddle me. He only wanted to be there. So if I didn't deprive him of his dignity and make him be cuddling with me. He showed up. He wanted food. He wanted to be taken care of. He had some health problems that he was probably looking for some help for, and he wanted cuddles 24/7. And he chose us. Okay. My other kitty that I still have now, his name is Hanny, and he was rescued from somebody that was abusing him and was not feeding him properly, was throwing bologna into the yard and things like that. And he had run away. They didn't take care of him, and he ran away, and he got hurt by a dog, and you can see his little eye still has a problem today. And then that person that I don't consider a pet parent, because they didn't treat Hanny like a parent should treat a child, or they were an abusive pet parent. they wouldn't take Hanny to the doctor, and he had a broken leg. And my sister ended up taking him to the doctor, and it's a long story, but anyway, so again, it's no picnic to be wild and have your dignity. You know, you can get hurt, especially if you're a cute little cat. You know, look at what happened to Hope. You know, look at what happened to pets. Get hurt by other animals all the time, and they get hurt by cars. And this world is no place to be like a wild animal right now. And then finally, my sweet girl Hope. Of course, I'm going to show you this again, but I got her from Troutdale, Multnomah, the Multnomah County Pet Shelter. You know, it's animal control. She was surrendered. Someone had been a backyard breeder and and when she couldn't have any more puppies, they took her to the animal shelter when she was 6 years old. And so that is when my sweet girl came into my life. And you know, we have a humane society here in Oregon that is a no-kill shelter. But the dog pound is a kill shelter. And so I wanted to save a life, so I went specifically to a dog pound, you know, to try to save a life. And I got the most sweet, wonderful girl, and I had many, many happy years with her. So I don't believe that she would have been better served to have her dignity with a quick death. I think that is crazy. It's not crazy, but I respectfully disagree with that. And you can respectfully disagree with me as well. So please leave me a comment. Maybe there's a point I missed about why it isn't ethical for people to have animal companions or be pet parents. And I'd love to hear your opinion on this. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.